So subtle. Okay, so everyone, welcome to this morning's Intermediate Advanced 15th Century Dance class. Today we're going to be covering a choreography that I have created, Amoroso Nuovo for 3. And this is completely in line with the style of the era. I have taken components from other dances and melded them into an alternate version of Amoroso that those who have perhaps danced the version for too many times can enjoy. Or if you're on a dance floor and you have an extra person, then you have this nice version of 3 that is more complicated than the version for 2. So let's go ahead and jump into the footwork. So we have our, basically, no, the footwork is more or less the same. There's some differences as Amoroso. So the first sequence of steps is going to be single, priva, step, step, step. So let's go ahead and put our weight on our right foot. Let's go ahead and do that sequence. Ready, and single, priva, step, step, step. And I should remind everyone that this is a 4/4 piva, so it is not a skippy piva. It's what I call a floating piva. So that looks like this: 1, 2, 3. Right. So it's light. It's on the balls of the feet, but it's really, there's no syncopation in it because the music is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. There's no shorter or longer notes there. So let's go ahead and try that sequence again. And I really want you to focus on making that piva the floating kind of piva instead of the skippy kind of piva. So weight is on our right foot, left foot is free. Ready, and single, piva, step, step, step. So that's a sequence with which we're well familiar. Next sequence that we're going to drill a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'd like us to drill that single, piva, step, step, step a little bit. And I really want you to work on the singles, especially adding that nice raising and lowering, and across the piva, that raising and lowering. Okay. So let's go ahead and try that for nothing. We're just going to do that back to back to back. Single, piva, step, step, step. And what that means is that the second sequence is going to start with the right foot, actually. And that's okay. It's good that we practice this from both sides. Okay. So ready, and single, piva, step, step. Oh no, it's going to start with the left. Single, piva, step, step, step. Single, piva, step, step, step. Single, piva, step, step, step. So we're going to actually contract that in terms of distance we're covering. I want you to imagine that you have your own private space. And you're actually just going to walk your own private circle over your left shoulder with those 2 singles, piva and step, step, step. And you should end up back in your place, facing the same direction you are currently. So that'll look like this: single, piva, step, step, step. So it's your own private circle over your left shoulder. Okay, so weight is on our right foot, our left foot is free. Ready, and single, piva, sorry, step, step, step. We have a lot of wildfires around here, so the air quality is particularly wonderful. So let's do that now over the right shoulder. So again, I want you to just picture your own private little circle, not too big, not too big. Weight is on your right foot, left foot is free. Ready, and single, piva, step, step, step. Okay, let's try that again over the right shoulder. Ready, and single, piva, step, step, step. So let's put that together. So we're going to do the first turn and sequence will be over our left shoulder, and then the second will be over our right shoulder. So basically, we're walking our own little private figure 8 with this. And at the end of each section, you should be back where you started. That's the goal. Let's go ahead and give that a try. Weight is on our right foot, left foot is free. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Right shoulder, single, single, piva, step. Keep going, step. Single left shoulder, piva, step, step. Right shoulder, single, single, piva, step. One more time each side, single, single, piva, step, step, step. Last time, right shoulder, step, step. Okay, are there questions about that sequence and the turning of the things?
Just a quick question. I find the step, step, step. Is that a single pace? It feels a little faster. Is that?
So those are single steps when the singles are done in Piva. So, but it's because one bar, it's a good question. One bar of music is 4 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you get 2 singles in those 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3. So the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because a double at this tempo is 1, 2, 3. So the singles are literally half as fast as the steps of the double, that being the piva in this dance.
And
so it's
starting with your left foot, you're heading over your right shoulder?
Yes, both sides.
Oh, both sides.
Well, yeah, but you're heading over, no matter which way you're going, whether left or right, you're leading with your left foot.
Okay.
Okay, good. That's what
I thought. There was a point where you talked about starting with the right foot.
I didn't correct myself clearly enough. I realized that there was an odd number of singles or odd number of steps, and anytime there's an odd number of steps, you're always going to start again.
Yes, with the different foot.
With the left foot. Yeah. Okay. So that's the first sequence. So the next sequence that we're going to practice for this, and then I'm going to have Ryan come out and try to demonstrate it. Unfortunately, with the heel spurs, it just we haven't been able to do much in the way of practicing choreographies. No, we're still on the footwork, Hanson. Oh, yeah. So we're now going to do the music. This is the section that would normally be the 4 piva. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Instead of that, we're going to do, gosh, I really can't wait to live someplace with better air. We're going to do, or a hermetically sealed house. So we're going to do 2 doubles going forward. We're going to do 2 doubles going forward. 1, 2, 3. And for the purposes of this dance, there is no difference between a piva or a double. There just isn't. Remember that a piva is described literally as being a double altered and accelerated by the music that stimulates the dancer to it. In this era, in this time, there was no distinction. It was the double was whatever the music made it. The piva is a double that is made by the music. And this music is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how this figure is going to go. We're going to do 2 of these double piva forward. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And the last step of the second one is going to be a mezza volta. So let's go ahead and just drill that for a moment. 2 piva going forward, 2 of these doubles, these dopey going forward. The last step, which is a step with your right foot, is a mezza volta. Right. So weight is on our right foot, left foot is free, 4 for nothing. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, pivot. And this is really important at this tempo of music, especially that pivot is a step gather pivot like that. So let's try that again. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3 step pivot. And at the end of that step pivot, very important, again, that your left foot be free. That's why it's important that our step pivots be very, very clean. That's why we drill them so heavily in footwork drills classes. Okay, let's try it one more time, and then we're going to build on it. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Okay, left foot being free, we're now going to do repraise left and right at this tempo. So those end up being rather chipper. I shall demonstrate. So from behind, this is how it looks. Left cut, left gather, right cut, right gather. Right, again, no syncopation because music is in 4. Beloved, could you get me new batteries? My microphone, my transceiver. Okay, so repraise look like this from behind, and then I'll demonstrate from the side. Left cut, left gather, right cut, right gather. From the side, left cut, left gather, right cut, right gather. Going to vanish for a moment. Okay, I'm back. Right. Okay, so repraise from the side look like this. Left cut, left gather, right cut, right gather. So you really need to be on the balls of your feet for this, right? Really on the balls of your feet. Okay, so let's just drill repraise left and right at that tempo. Just repraise left and right, okay? So weight is in our right foot. Our left foot is free. Ready, and left, left gather, right cut, right gather, left gather, right cut, right gather, left gather, right gather, left. Okay, let's slow that down a little bit. So this is how we're going to do this. We're going to start slowly, and I'm going to gradually accelerate until we're up to the actual tempo of the music. Okay? So just repraise left and right in 4, but we'll start with a slow 4. So 4 for nothing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Left, cut, left, gather, right, cut, right, gather. Be on the balls of your feet though. Gather, right, left, right, gather, left, cut, left, gather, right, cut, right, gather, left, gather. Now, for the sake of preparing yourself, make your steps pretty small. Even though we're going slowly, make them small because as the music gets faster, you're going to have to shrink them down anyway. 1, 2, 3, gather. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Yes, I know the meeting's being recorded. Goodness gracious. So needy. Since you're my only students, I continue. Okay, so you want your steps to be small. Small, decimus smaller, much smaller. This should not cover large amounts of space, smaller steps. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to put that on the end of our 2 doubles with a mezza volta. Okay, so, oh, I apologize, God, blood. Weight is on our right foot, our left foot is free. We're going to do 2 doubles, mezza volta, repraise left and right. 4 for nothing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, let me get the music in my head. Da 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 da. Okay, that's the tempo. So 2 counts is 1 piva. 4, 3, 2, 1. Do be o, repraise, repraise. Let's try that again. And in fact, we're just going to drill that back to back. We're going to drill that back to back to get it into the muscle memory. So weight is on our right foot, left foot is free. We'll start a little more slowly than the music actually is. 1, 2, 3, 4. do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Again, do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Again, do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Make your steps smaller on those repraise. Do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Do-be-o, do-be-o, repraise, repraise. Okay, good enough for now. So remember, especially for faster music, smaller steps is actually easier to get what you need to accomplish in than bigger steps in the same amount of music. It's actually easier if you come higher up on your feet and just make your steps much smaller. One of the reasons we drill small steps, large steps in our footwork drills classes. Okay, so that is one sequence of another second sequence of steps you need to learn. That's actually the harder version because the easier version is what the ends get to do, which they don't have to do that mezza volta. And then the third sequence that we need to learn that is different from other things is 2 singles and a double, 2 singles and a double. Right. So that looks like this. Single, single, do-be-o, single, single, do-be-o. Ready, and single, single, do-be-o, single, single, do-be-o. Okay, now let's build a mezza volta onto the end of that. So the last step of your last double is a mezza volta. Okay, ready, and single, single, da, 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 single, single, da, da, turn. And so the timing on that is step, 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 turn. That's how much time you have for the pivot. It's not a lot. Yeah. Let's try it. Let's run that back to back to back just to build it into muscle memory, that whole sequence. Ready, and single, single, do-be-o, single, single, do-be-o, turn. 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 Okay. So enough with the footwork. Enough with the footwork. So we're going to go ahead and just start building this into our actual dance. So this is a dance for 3. So we have quite a few fun little figures that crop up. Where'd my notes go? Actually, this is such a new dance, and you guys are actually the first actual humans to whom I've taught it other than Ryan. So we're actually going to start dancing together in our threesome. My love, I require your body. Well, I mean, that's valuable use of your time, obviously, but so we actually start with 8 piva or 12 piva. So this is, I will put it this way. This dance, you can dance to whatever Amoroso music is playing. And depending on who's playing the music, they'll either have 8 piva at the beginning or 12 piva. You're going to have to listen to the music. Right? When the piva music ends. For my musicians and the recording of my musicians, what?
So you can dance if you want to.
Oh,
Just don't leave
no.
your friends behind.
Go away. You're no longer welcome in my class. So, so this version starts with 8 piva, and that's these floating piva, right? So let's go ahead and just warm up with that, and we'll dance. We'll dance opening at any rate in the piva. We'll dance in single file. Now, if you happen to actually have a grand space, a la, the Louvre in the Middle Ages and you had this great hall, then you could dance 3 abreast and actually have plenty of room to comfortably execute. You know, you can actually, if you want, dance 3 abreast.
The third person hit the table.
Yeah. Or you can dance these a la fila. It's your choice, whatever your space allows you. I think most people are dancing in single file space, honestly, these days. So we're going to put the music on and let's just go ahead and dance those piva. If you are the leftmost person, you are the leader. All right, brief intro. I'm just going to turn up the volume. Piva, da, 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 da. Floating, please. 4 more. Okay, that is your 8. So that's the intro. That's sort of where everything, that's the simplest part of the dance. At the end of that, if you've been dancing in single file, and you probably have, you want to make certain that you are abreast, 3 abreast. So this is how you would make that end eventually, right? Just you want to end so that you're 3 abreast, 3 people next to each other. Okay. So we're going to have this circling figure. And for those of you who've learned Pellegrino, you've done this circling figure. It's the lonely circling figure. Decide who is the center person right now. I'm going to make you the center. So he is my center.
Oh.
So remember that figure 8 sequence that we practiced, the single, piva, step, 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 single, piva, step, step, step. We're going to get that footwork now to do the lonely circling figure. So the lonely circling figure, the idea is that the center is always circling with a human, but the ends only get a human half the time. So they have to share a human. But everyone is always circling. So it's not like Joyoso and Trey where either the people on the left are circling or the people on the right are circling. Everyone is always circling. And everyone is going to start by circling counterclockwise. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So let's see. Brianna's on the right. Okay. Yep. Just like we are. Okay. So gentlemen, centers, I want you to picture you have, your third person, your left. So you're going to take left hands with the person on your left if you're the center. And if you're on the right, you're actually going to you're going to pretend lonely like that you have someone over here waiting for you, that you have a partner. Yeah, exactly. And you're going to stick your left hand out to them, to that ghost. Right? And that's going to automatically, if you're on the end, that's going to automatically turn you kind of down group. Right? So I'm now opposite of the direction with him because you have to drop hands. Yeah, there you go. So stick out your left hand. Yes, there you go. Good. So we are now going to hold hands with our respective humans or ghosts. We're now going to circle counterclockwise back to place with two singles and a piva and the 3 steps. So single, piva, step, step, step. Everyone back to place. Now, if we had our third person and she hadn't broken her ankle like she did a couple of weeks ago, yeah, I have the worst luck trying to find extra dancers. Even when I offer them shit for free, they hurt themselves rather than come to my classes. Then the end would be paralleling me. If there's another person here, we would actually be moving in parallel. So it would be this really pretty parallel figure. Okay, so with your respective human or ghost, pretending that you have left hands just so you have a point of reference for the direction you're turning, we're now going to circle 2 singles, a piva, and 3 steps. Let's do that slowly. Ready, and single, piva, step, step, step. And that should get you back to place. You should be facing the direction you started when you started circling. So that means the ends are facing down group, the center is facing up group, right? Because literally, if you watch, No, just want to get away from the damn furniture. Always near the furniture, right? So if you watch us, this is how this will look. Singles, we're all moving counterclockwise. Step, step, step. Right, I'm still facing the way I started when I started my circling. Not when we started getting into the circling, when I actually started the action of circling. Because we're then going to take right hands with the person on our right and do the same figure. And now this person has a ghost partner, right? Okay, so just from here with ends facing down group, center facing up group, let's go over our left shoulders, our respective left shoulders, which means everyone's moving counterclockwise. 2 singles, a piva, and 3 more singles. Okay, ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Yep. So you want to make sure that your circle is small enough that you easily get back to place. You're not going, it seems like a lot of footwork. It seems like it should be able to take you far. It doesn't actually the second you start circling it, right? It's really small. It's really small. If you watch us, watch. This is us doing it together, right? Single, single, piva, step, step. It's just enough to get us back to place, right? So your circle is not big. It's not big at all. Okay, it's like a meter in diameter at most, Okay, so weight is in our right foot. Let's try it over the left shoulder again. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. So you know you were circling with a person, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spread his hands out.
Okay, but she's never going to take those big steps. You're going to have to go smaller.
I figured she was-
Okay, now that we've circled over our left shoulder, we take right hands with the person on our right. Now I get a human, yay. And we circle the same figure, but clockwise this time. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step.
Start both times with the left.
We start both times with the left foot, yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice that, the lonely circling figure. Now you understand why I call it the lonely circling figure, because one of the ends is always a little lonely. The center is fine. The center's got it all, right? Okay, so lonely circling figure starting over our respective left shoulder. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Right hand, single, single, piva, step, step, step. Okay, so for the ends, I'm sorry, but your last step of that last part of the circling figure is in fact a mezza volta so that you're facing forward again. I know, it's mean, I apologize, but there it is. So ends on the last half of the circling, the back end, the right hand circling. On your right hand circling, the last step is a step mezza volta so that we can end up all facing forward once again. Yeah, we'll show. So this is how the whole figure will look in total, this is how it will look, right? Okay, ready, and single, single, piva, step, 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 single, single, piva, step, step. And I just keep going the direction I'm already rotating and just turn a little extra, right? Because I'm already rotating this way. So I just keep that going on the last step.
That's nice stuff here.
It does nice stuff to dresses. It does, it's true. Okay. So what that also means is that to begin the lonely circling figure, because she doesn't need room. She doesn't need room. I'm sorry, she doesn't.
Fine.
So to begin the lonely circling figure, and this is always the hardest part about the lonely circling figure. And that's why I try to use the visual of sticking out your left hand and taking left hands with a ghost. Because the first step of that circle for you is actually a pivot step, right? I actually pivot step for that first step to get me going in the direction I need to go, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and try the whole lonely circling figure slowly starting from the direction we'll actually be facing at the end of our 12 or our 8 piva. So weight is on your right foot, your left foot is free. Everyone know which way you're going. Ready, and single, single, left shoulder, step, step, step. So you're circling over your left shoulder, not your right shoulder. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay, it's confusing, I get it. So let's try that again. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Yes, okay, good, good. Okay, let's try that again, but this time we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going to the end of the lonely circling figure. Keep going to the end of the lonely circling figure. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Single, single, piva, step, step, step. Yes, I did. Sorry, I was concerned about your pain.
It's okay.
Okay, let's try that again. Weight is on our right foot, left foot is free. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Single, single, piva, step, 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 turn for the ends. Okay, let's try, question? No? Okay, okay, let's try it again. So we're 3 abreast, facing the same direction as though we just finished our 12 or 8 piva. Ready, and single, single, piva, step, step, step. Single, single, piva, step, step, step. Yay! Perfect. Okay, so that's figure 1. That's figure 1. Next figure is a brief chase and catch up figure. It's fun. It's going to be cute. So the center is now going to leave with those, the footwork we already drilled, which was the 2 doubles with the mezza volta and repraise left and right. So the center is going to go forward and then do the represa left and right. And while, this is the cute part, while the center is doing his represa left and right, the ends do a reverenza. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's this really flirty figure, right? And for the ends, it's a nice slow reverenza, slow relatively, right? Because we actually get 2 bars of music for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, stop it. So the ends only do their reverenza, during the represe, We are not honoring his butt, right? He doesn't get honors until he's facing us. It is a nice butt, but it's not that nice of a butt. Okay. So
The gym.
center, you're going to go forward with your 2 doubles, your 2 dopey, mezza volta, represa left and right. Ends, we do nothing until the represa left and right when we do a reverenza. Okay, let's go ahead and try this. Center, ready, and double, double pivot, represa left, represa right.
And from the lead's point of view, you can pay attention to each one in turn as you're going back and forth.
That's true. Yeah. As you do your represa left, the person you're facing, as you do your represa right, the person you're getting closer to. Okay, let's try that one more time. That's a good point, Mylif.
I like to float.
Yeah, you do. That's so true. Okay, ready, and double, reverenza, represa, da. Represa, reverenza. I'll call that as represa, reverenza, probably. Okay, that's looking pretty nice. Okay, so, no, stay where you are, gentlemen. Stay where you are. So ladies, we are now going to catch up with the same sequence minus the mezza volta. This is not Ma Graziosa, the dance about the rude lady who turns her back and does a reverenza to someone else. This is not that dance. So we are going to catch up and we're going to end facing, like just a little bit in front of. So we're not next to, we're a little bit in front of our partner, our center. So pattern is going to be for the ends, basically the same, just without the mezza volta. So we do 2 of those piva, then we do represa left and right. And while we do represa left and right, he does a reverenza. Okay, so it's the inverse. Weight is on our right foot, left foot is free, ready, and double, represa reverenza, da. And again, when the gentleman doing the reverenza, he can pay attention to one lady on the down and the other lady on the up, for instance, if he wants to divide it evenly and not cause disharmony. Okay, let's try that whole figure, that whole separation catch-up figure. Medieval negging. Okay, so pattern is going to be gentleman goes away 2 doubles with a mezza volta, represa left and right, while the ends reverenza. Ladies catch up, 2 doubles, represa left and right, while the center performs a reverenza. Okay, let's try it slowly. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center, da, ends, da, da. Hey, nice, handsome. Okay, how is that feeling? Questions?
She likes the part where she doesn't have to turn.
I'm really bad with left and right. For whatever reason, my brain does not understand consistently left and right.
It's amazing. It's great for dance.
Like
It works.
or something. I don't know.
But it worked
Well,
out.
this will probably actually make you much better at left and right.
Quite a bit.
My beloved is very talented at many things, and he tends to avoid things at which he's not naturally gifted so that he doesn't have to work at it. But he's found that if he works at it, he can also get good at it. It's funny.
It's terrible.
I don't know. That sounds like witchcraft to me.
Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and do the whole dance through to that point. Okay, so we have our 8 piva, and then we have our lonely circling figure, and then we have our separation catch up.
You know, she didn't drill. Going from piva to.
We're just gonna, yeah. So the trick is going to be for the ends after the 8th piva. You can actually use that last piva, the last step of the last piva if you want, probably ideally to get into position for your lonely circling figure. But let's see what happens. Okay. Or more. Lonely circling over left shoulder. Right shoulder. And turn, little extra. Centered, double. Facing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands, double. Sorry, double. Represe or reverenza. Yay! I'm confident it was perfect. Let's try it again and make it more perfect. We're going to make it plus perfect and then plus quam perfect. See that? Oh, you're the step. Circling. Right shoulder. Center 2 doubles. Facing. Centers for ends, sorry. Praise it. Nice. Okay, let us press onward. We're at the end of the dance. Are there any, well, we're sort of at the end of the dance. Are there any specific questions? Okay. So we're now facing each other. And this, we're a little offset, so I'll show what that looks like from the side. So we're a little offset, right? So there's a little space between us. So we're now going to separate with the, and we'll do this in this direction, separate with the center passing through the ends moving to the outside of the center, obviously. And we're going to do that with the third sequence we practiced, which was the single, single, doppio, single, single, doppio turn. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. So we're, at the end of that, we'll be as separated as our space allows us to be. So if you have to do some S curves to make your space work, that's fine. Okay. So ready, and single, single, doppio, single, single, doppio turn. Okay, now we've turned a face. We're going to do a quick reverenza. So this is that flirty little Amoroso reverenza where it's 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 2 whole bars of music. Okay, and everyone does that. Everyone does that. And now finish off by circling over everyone, circling over their own left shoulder with 4 of those floating piva, those floating doubles. But what I really want you to focus on, this is going to be a yes but no figure. So instead of immediately turning over your left shoulder to do this, I actually want you to start going towards your opposite, the person who's opposite you, right? And so we're going to start by coming forward with the first 2 piva and then going back with the last 2 piva. Okay, so it ends up being probably more oval than circular, and that's fine. So I actually want you to start circling, because you can actually almost get back to your partner that way, to the center that way.
Practically swipe shoulders.
Yeah, you can almost swipe shoulders this way when you have this much music. Okay, so I'm going to call this forward circles, because the idea that you're going forward first instead of immediately tying off over your left shoulder, right? Your left shoulder is still in the center. It's just you don't get over it for a little while. So the idea is we circle towards our partner and then back to place with our 4 piva. Let's go ahead and try that. Weight is on our right foot, left foot is free, ready, and piva, 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 piva. And you should make it work in the space you have. Obviously, if you have a really great hall, then you can do some really pretty things with this. If you have a wider hall, you can make your circle broader. We have a long, narrow hall, so our circle is more oblong, right? Okay, so let's come back together as though we've just done our reverenza repraise figure, facing the way you were at the end of that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I started
Before-
thinking about something else.
Before we pass through each other. Right. So the whole figure, to recap, is the single, single, doppio, single, single, doppio turn, separating, reverenza, and then forward circles for piva.
I was honestly just thinking what it would look like with the 2 women doing it at the same time.
It would be really
with all
pretty.
their dresses.
It would be really pretty. With 2 ladies dressed with trains moving at the same time, this dance will be gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. With my skirts all kilted up, not so much, but okay. Okay, so separation sequence, everyone moving at once. Weight is on our right foot, left foot is free. 2 singles, ready, and single, single, doppio, single, single, doppio turn, rev 2, 3, forward, circling, da, 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 da. Okay, so now we're going to repeat that. The music repeats that section. So we're going to repeat that footwork, but the geography to come back together. So we're going to do our 2 singles and a double, 2 singles and a double to come back together. This time, only the ends get the mezza volta. Only the ends. That's a very typical thing. Just the ends make, it's always up to the ends to put things back to right, I guess. So we're going to reunite 2 singles and a double, 2 singles and a double, ends do a mezza volta. Okay, let's go ahead and try just that far. Ready, and single, single, doppio, single, single, doppio, turn. So that last step is, a step turn. Okay, we're now back together, facing in the same direction. Same, and the correct direction is based on the orientation of the center, pretty much always. So we have 4 more, or we have our reverenza, right? Sorry, we have our reverenza. So we do our quick reverenza, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as always, we can actually take hands during that, and the ends can slightly look at each other so that we have, some sort of connectivity. And for the center, you can, do maybe during the first half of your reverenza, pay attention to the person on your left, and during the second, pay attention to the person on your right. Because remember, the left is always the leader. Yeah. Okay, so we came together, 2 singles and a double, 2 singles and a double reverenza. Just same footwork, just different geography as we did before. And now with those final 4 pivot, we're going to change the order. We're going to do a half pay, which means we're going to do a half weaving figure that's going to swap the ends. The center will stay where he is. The ends are going to change places. So this is actually going to start by the center moving to his left. And I'll put myself over here so you have a frame of reference. So center is going to start moving to his left. Excuse me. Yes, you are the center. Center is going to start moving to his left. End is going to start moving to her right and just come over to here, to the other woman's place. And basically for the center, he just kind of circles around over his left shoulder and back to place. Right, that's his geography. That's the center's geography. For the end,
Why am I doing 3?
you're doing 4, but that's okay.
Did I do 4?
No, you're supposed to do 4,
Oh.
but we're not worrying about footwork. We're worrying about geography. For the end on the left, the geography is going basically through would be the center spot and coming around to the end and turning over her right shoulder, right? So you want to just picture a figure 8 on the ground, right? Picture a figure 8 on the ground. The center is standing at the X of the figure 8, and the ends are standing at the ends of the O's of the figure 8, right? You've got this infinity symbol, right? So the ends are at the points of the O's, the center is at the X. And we're all just walking halfway around this figure 8, basically. And for the center of halfway around literally means a loop. It means a loop over his left shoulder. Okay, so let's try, if you're on the right, if you're on the far right, as I am now, I'm at the point of my figure 8. So I'm going to start, this way. Yeah, I'm going to start backwards. So I come here and I basically end up chasing him. And then I come to here. Right. Should have set up an aerial camera for this. That would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, let's demonstrate this from the side. Okay, so center is just going to go all the way around just the left loop of the infinity symbol. Go ahead and do that. This is what the center is doing. Right. And while he's doing that, I am going to go backwards on the figure 8. Because we're all moving in the same direction on the figure 8. We always all move in the same direction on the figure 8. And the whole idea is that the person on the right ends up in the left position, the person on the left ends up in the right position. That's the point. Yeah. So if I'm now on the left, he's on the right. Right, so I too, basically the ends always start going backwards. Suck, but there it is. The ends always start going backwards, right? So we're going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm changing something. I'm changing, yep,
You're changing something?
yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes, no, not minor thing. It's a good thing. You'll like this. This is going to make this easier. So there's no mezza volta at the end of that reunion. No mezza volta at the end of the reunion because that automatically puts the ends in the position they need to be in to do the figure 8.
That'll make it so much easier.
Yeah, it will. Make it so much easier for everyone. Okay, so face each other like you've just reunited. 2 singles and a double, 2 singles and a double. You're facing each other. As you were at the beginning, facing each other. So Decimus, you should be facing me, and Brianna, you should be facing the other way.
It makes the reverence.
Yes, there we go. Decimus, you're facing me. Brianna, you're facing not me. Good. So we've just reunited with our 2 singles and a double, 2 singles and a double. We do our reverenza, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to do our half of figure 8. We're going to do our half of figure 8. We're already facing in the directions we all need to go to do half of a figure 8. Right? Ends are facing down, center is facing up. Center just gets the loop, their left loop. Ends, we do a little, basically an S. We do an S to get into the other position. Yep, exactly. Yep. And a little extra turn so you're facing forward. Yep. Okay, let's go ahead and try half figure 8 from here. So everyone is moving at once. Don't worry about footwork yet. Let's just do normal walking steps. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll know how much time you have when you actually have the music. So we actually get 4 piva for that. So go back to where you were, center, you just don't move.
I went back to where I was.
Okay, so we're going to get 4 piva for this. So that's actually, especially at this tempo of music, that's actually quite a bit. So try to use it all. Don't just rush into the other spot. I know the temptation is, please let me just get to where I need to go, but let's try not to do that. So weight is on our right foot, left foot is free. 4 piva, doing our respective half hey. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 2 da da, 3 da da, 4 da da. Okay. So let's do that. Separate back out again. Let's do that whole reunion. Let's do the whole reunion part. So we've just, to recap, we separated 2 singles and a double that again. We did a quick reverenza and we did the forward circling. Now we're going to reunite 2 singles and a double that again, facing, quick reverenza, and then half of a figure 8 for the ends to swap places. The center just gets to flirtily turn over his left shoulder. That's what happens here. Okay, so weight is in our right foot, left foot is free. Let's go ahead and try 2 singles and a double. Ready, and single, single, do-pio, single, single, do-pio. Rev 2, 3, piva, 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 piva. Yay! Only a little bit of skittering at the end. Yes, perfect. Okay, that's the whole dance. It repeats. Obviously, the second time through, there's a new leader and a new follower, because why wouldn't there be? It's a 15th century dance. Okay, let's try it. Yeah, I know, it's okay. Let's go ahead and dance it all the way through once, not twice, once, without bothering with the whole inverting of roles. Okay, so 8 piva. Then we have our lonely circling figure. Then we have our chase or separation and catch up, followed by big separation, forward circles, reunion, and half a figure 8. What can I say? It's an advanced dance. Okay, I will call it. Piva. Lonely circling, single, single, do-fi-yo. Step, step, right hand. Center, 2 doubles. Reverenza, repraise. Center, end, God, sorry. No? Separating, single, single, do-pio. Single, single, do-pio, facing. Rev 2, 3, forward circling. Single, do-pio. Single, single, do-pio. Reverenza. Half a figure 8. Okay, let's try it again. Okay. From the top. Only circling left. Only circling right. And put away, double. Reverenza, represa. Reverenza, represa. Operating. Single, single, trio. Single, single, trio. Reverenza. Forward circling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reverenza. 4, Eva. 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 You ended up in the correct place.
We missed the second reverenza.
Oh,
Yeah, we looked at each other as we were circling each other, like, oh no, reverenza.
that's okay. That was pretty good, actually, though. I saw people catching their geography mid-step and correcting it, so that was pretty good.
But we know Amoroso well enough that this is actually doable to learn from, you know, just a little bit, which is nice. The music's super familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes
Yeah.
it's just, and the footwork is like it still feels sort of in the same.
It is the footwork. There's only one spot where it's really different, and that's the third section of the music where
Yeah,
the
like,
center goes
the
away.
it's a little different, but the steps are almost like
Yeah.
the actual steps and the order of the steps are very similar.
Yeah, that's the idea, and that's what often happens with these dances where there's a version for 2 and then there's a version for 3. The footwork is very, very, very similar. The geography is what changes. Okay, well, did you want to try it one more time? And did you want to try to see what happens if you dance it twice in the new order, or just try it once through with the original order?
It'll be fun. It's going to be a horrible mess, and I love it.
Excellent, let's do it. I love that enthusiasm. Yeah. Only circling left. Right. Center away. Repraise the reverenza. Ends. Repraise the reverenza. Operating. Single, single. Double. Single, single, double. Rev 2, 3, forward circling. Reverenza. Half a figure 8. Yay! One more. Only circling left. Right. Center away. Ends. Separating. Reverenza. 1, 2, 3, forward circling. reverenza. 1, 2, 3, half a figure 8. Hey, that actually worked.
So for whatever reason, like as we started the second round, my brain thought I was in the middle because I'm a moron. I'm like, I don't know the middle steps. I go forward.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. There is an option whereby I could make this by just changing the ending a little bit. I could make this where you dance it thrice and every person dances every part.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking of just coming up with it because there's another Joyoso and Trey. I think Decimus has taught that to you. Yes. Yeah. So that also has an ending. There are 2 different versions, and one version has an ending that's intended for twice through, and the other version has an ending that's intended for thrice through. And so this would be the same idea as I could create whereby, but that only works if you have musicians who are playing the music twice.
Yeah, we don't have a recording still of them doing it with enough footwork
Three?
for this.
Oh, I can share this with you.
Oh, the
Yeah,
guy too. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the recording they made of this one. I can just share that with you. Eventually it'll go on an album and then you can buy it, but for now just use this.
Okay, sounds good.
That'd be perfect. And then your dad might have a little less pressure on him.
Oh, if we try and get my dad to play again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been like practicing it, and it was interesting.
Amoroso on the guitar, Amoroso on the piano, Amoroso.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Kind of good. It was kind of
it's just. I mean, he was just.
just hard
it
to
was
dance
just
if the
new.
musicians
Yeah.
aren't like right on the
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's never fun to dance to musicians who are just learning a tune or learning to play.
Which, fair enough, but also, yeah, it's hard.
things you do during a pandemic when you're
Yeah, that's
a year
actually
and a
true.
half in a place you didn't intend to be. Oh well.
It's fun though.
Yeah.
Are there any questions?
I haven't successfully noted it all down. That's my only concern, but I'll do my best. But because we're going straight into another, well, I guess I have 15 minutes or 5 minutes.
You've got 8 minutes.
Yeah, I probably won't get it. I'll do my best to get it noted down, but I may